Introducing the epic new Swift. Time to go swifting.
The playoffs then of IPL 2024 starting with qualifier number 1, Kolkata Knight Riders, Sunrisers Hyderabad at Ahmedabad. This should be a good one. Here's our preview on Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPN Cricinfo Timeout, powered by JBL. Tom Moody, Mitch McClenaghan, Wasim Jaffer, all of whom have watched these two teams right through the league phase. Things change come the playoffs, don't they? Different fields. Tom Moody, you have your own experience of it?
Yeah, look, both teams will be nervous. It's such a big occasion. Both teams have come from a previous season where they had poor years. Sunrisers coming last in the last season of the IPL, and I think KKR came 7th. So they're up in rarefied air at the moment in qualifying 1 and 2, and they'll be very keen to get that straight road to the final, which is everyone's wish. Interesting enough, KKR haven't played a lot of cricket over the last 10 days because of weather. So you just wonder how that's disrupted, their rhythm, their pattern, their confidence, because confidence is fueled through performance. If they're not performing, they're not constantly fueling that confidence within the playing group. Yeah. Yes, they're enjoying some, relaxing time and recovering from, little niggles, particularly your bowling group may have some niggles, and that extra time is valuable, but there's the other side of it where that sort of winning momentum can be quite powerful.
Yeah, Sunrisers did get a game in on Sunday, and a good one. How would you be feeling if you were in the KKR camp with the point Tom's just made, knowing some of those personalities, your Narines and Russells and Mitch Starks, and even, for that matter, Emanullah Gurbaz, who's had no game time? How would you be feeling when you've had so much time off with no cricket going into a big playoff? Would you be cold?
Look, I tell you what, I don't think it's going to upset the flow of Narine and Andre Russell. That's for one, and I think Mitchell Stark probably would enjoy the little bit of a rest. I think he'll be pretty happy that he's going to have a break because he was in good form just before that. I think the man you touched on, Gurbaz, I think that's probably the biggest concern, and I think more often than not, you come out in your first game and you're a little bit nervous, and this is going to be a crucial game that he's going to play. So it's going to be important that when SRH come out and bowl to him, that they have a plan to him, because I think in this fixture they can get a little bit obsessed with worrying about Sunil Narine at the other end, and just like the teams made the mistake with Phil Salt, they didn't really plan for him as much. So Gurbaz is a player that loves width to be able to free his hands, and he likes that length ball, that back of a length ball, to be able to go leg side. So his get out of jail shots to run down the wicket, and so you've got to be smart. You've got to watch where he moves and be switched on when you play against him. Otherwise, he can really get after you. I think this last year his form's gone up. He's striking it in the 140s. Yep. He's upped it quite significantly. So he's a really dangerous player, and if you take him lightly, he will hurt you. Yeah,
11 appearances last year, as pointed out, for Emanullah Gurbaz, but he's had no game time going into this one. Point Tom makes that these two teams were nowhere near the playoffs last year. Does it in some way make it even more exciting? Because there's no recent experience they can lean on. If say KKR were playing a CSK or an MI, or say SRH were playing a Gujarat Titans who've been in 2 finals last year, does this some way make this a more exciting, more even game?
I think so. I think that will help because they both were in the similar position last season. But saying that, that nerves will be there, considering that it's a qualifier, but you get one more opportunity. That's a good thing about being 1 and 2. Even if you have a bad game, you get another opportunity. So that will be, that will always help. But your mind and your thoughts will always be to win this one and go into the finals and, have a bit of a rest and play that final.
All right. Now let's get into key areas of the game, key tactical matchups that could decide eventually the outcome of this all-important first qualifier. Tom, Mitch and Wasim have thought about this. Wasim, where do you sense this game could most significantly be affected?
Well, I think first of all, KKR's opening partnership has changed. Narine and Salt were so successful, just like Head and Abhishek have been for SRH. And that partnership has been broken. Salt has gone back, and Gurbaz, like we have spoken, he hasn't had any game time. He's not played much cricket even before IPL, and in the IPL he's not turned up at all. So he's not got any game time. So he's going to be rusty, and Sunil Narine will do his things. Again, he hasn't played for a while, so that rhythm sometimes can be broken.
Do you see Narine playing differently because he's got a new partner?
No, I don't think so. I think he's going to play the same way, no matter who's batting with him. But because he hasn't played for last 10 days, Sunil Narine, obviously that, how he comes out and plays first few deliveries, which Mitch mentioned, the bowlers have to bowl that right line.
What is that right line for Narine? SRH's bowlers, Bhuvi, I'm guessing with him, with the new ball, you'd have either a split between Pat Cummins and they've changed it up quite a bit this IPL. How should they look to bowl to Sunil Narine?
Well, I think they need to probably bowl, into his body and not look to bowl just short to him. Try and not allow him to extend his hands and obviously place those fielders. I think RCB got him out at long off, so they need to consider that, whether long off or long on, because if you pitch anything up, he's going to hit you straight down. So you need to have one fielder there and try and mix and match. You can't be very predictable with Sunil Narine because he obviously is going to back away and look to score either on the offside or the leg side. So the only thing that they shouldn't do is be very predictable.
Any added thoughts on perhaps how SRH will come with, whether they will come with a specific plan for Sunil Narine?
Well, there's two areas that has been a pretty common theme with regards to Sunil Narine and trying to derail his boundary hitting prowess, and that is firstly bowling short at his body, but the line's got to be nearly a fourth leg stump line. It can't be sort of on the stumps because of the way he opens up that right leg to access either hitting over cover or point or hitting through the leg side. So that the line has to be hitting his right shoulder, which is more often than not outside, well outside leg stump. So that's plan A. Plan B is pretty much bowling to his feet. So if the ball's swinging, try to swing the ball into his feet. For the left armers, it's angling the ball into his feet. And again, that line is not so much leg stump, it's nearly outside leg stump because where he positions himself in the crease. So I think they're the two defensive options, but I would be first looking to try to nick him off. If I'm Bhuvaneswar Kumar, who's one of the best swing bowlers the IPL's seen, I'd be encouraging him to sit the seam up and try to beat him in the air, because there's been a couple of times where there's been genuine swing bowlers that Sunil Narine has swung and missed, and they've just missed the stumps, and he's had that sort of momentum on his side and he's got away with it and then gone off and made runs. So first, trying to swing, nick him off. If that doesn't work, you've got those two other plans.
Okay, well, there you have it. KKR's openers and now Sunil Narine without Salt. Crucial. SRH's openers, where you sense also the match could significantly be decided. What's the matchup?
Yeah, huge. Look, I'll tell you what, we saw a little insight into what might work in the first ball today. Arshdeep went straight through Travis
Sunday.
Head.
Yes.
Yep, he went straight through Travis Head. So he bowled a perfect length, hitting the top of off stump and nipped back through the gate. So I think first and foremost, I think you've got to challenge the top of the stumps, on the stumps to Travis Head. I think Aurora is also a very good option against him with that outswing that he bowls. There's a couple of different methods, right? If you don't swing the ball away, you stay nice and tight to Travis Head. You tuck him up. You don't give him any width or any length that he can get his hands through, because he dominates outside on those two lines and lengths. And so you can go in and nice and tight and shut him down, very much like Sunil Narine, staying more leg side than anything. But if you've got the ability to swing the ball away, then you've got the option of having your fly sweeper back on the offside and going across him. We saw, I think it was Deshpande, bowled a wider, slower ball to him and got him caught out on the offside. And if you were really brave with that and were consistent with that outswing and that line outside the offside, you could even play around with having two guys back out on that side, which is not a traditional field. It doesn't give you a lot of other options. But what we've seen with Travis Head is when teams have tried to go wide, as his innings have progressed, he doesn't actually creep across the crease much. He'll stay leg side until he absolutely has to move. So you might get away with 3 or 4 attacking deliveries, swinging the ball across him with a unique field on the offside. So, I mean, these are key wickets. And then Abhishek, I think it's good balls. I think when you get in trouble with Abhishek, I think it's when you start trying to chase deliveries and and not sticking to like good deliveries. And width is also a key contributor to him scoring runs as well. So we've seen him a couple of times get cramped up on the hip, and I don't mind a change of pace on the hip to him early because he does want the pace on the ball early. So there's a couple of different options that you could try for either of those guys.
Bowler best suited for you to get the early wicket for KKR?
I would go Stark to hit early. Then Aurora is a good matchup for both of them. And then I think Harshit with his extra bounce and his slow ball is a good option as well. I would probably try and stay away from Sunil Narine at the top. I know that's usually a matchup that we're used to seeing, but I think Travis Head is playing spin better now. Abhishek is dominant against spin, and I don't think you want to give them that momentum. And I think Sunny's going to be too crucial either in the 5th or 6th over and in the middle phase in this game, because I think there's going to be a period. This game's definitely going to ebb and flow.
Right. Let's, on that point, go to the use of KKR spin potentially in the middle. At times, Shreyas Iyer employs spin to change things up if the openers get going. Mitch says he'd keep the spinners for later. That's when Heinrich Klaasen comes, and that's what you want to discuss as a key part of this game.
Yeah, I think the spin duo of Narine and Chakravarti are critical in this contest. We've seen Klaasen and what he's capable of doing against spin. We've seen now Nitish Reddy do what he can do against spin. He looks a very good player of spin. So you've got a senior, player that's a power hitter against spin. You've got a junior one that's doing the same. And then you can't discount Abdul Samad down the order as well. He's got the ability to hit the boundaries comfortably. So I sort of see that as a key matchup. I slightly differ to Mitch in that I would definitely using Narine for 1 over in the power play, just purely because of the quality of the bowler, and I would be prepared to sacrifice one of those overs at the right time. But if the ball is swinging or it's a little bit of movement off the seam, I'd reserve the right to keep that over. But I definitely want to sort of have that as an option. For those two spinners, it's the critical thing with Klaasen in particular, and even looking at Reddy, because he plays very well off his back foot as well,
right,
is length. Is the length you bowl and the pace that you bowl that length. You can't afford to bowl too slow on a traditional spinner's length, because particularly Klaasen is so good at getting deep in his crease and elevating the ball straight down the ground or over the offside or the leg side pretty straight. So is that length's got to be right and the pace has got to be right. And Narine's pace is bang on. That's why he's so hard to hit, is that in any sort of game situation, he gets the right pace. He's immaculate with his length. Therefore, you do hit very few boundaries off him.
All right. Fascinating that these two teams played in their opening game of the season. It almost seems like a lifetime back, but it was a thriller. It was perhaps the first real thriller, high-scoring thriller of this year's IPL, and KKR edged SRH by just 1 hit. 4 runs was the difference on a day where Klaasen, Russell all got runs at the Eden Gardens. Is there a preference? I think SRH would certainly want to bat first with what we've seen in spite of that good chase against Punjab. KKR, would they bat first as well and risk perhaps due at Ahmedabad, which can come in for their 2 spinners? Thoughts on what KKR are likely to do if they win the toss?
I think it won't be a bad idea to bat first for both of them.
Both teams,
yeah.
In which case, team changes. We know Gurbaz will come in. Vyaskant should continue for SRH.
Yeah, I'm torn on this one. He's done very well, but they'd have to have a look at Faruqi as well, depending on the conditions.
Not played at all. Was that a risk? Would you stick with Vyaskant regardless?
Yeah, I'd play the spinner. I just think it gives them balance.
Yeah, because I think they haven't got the confidence in Markande, so you won't see him playing. So you might as well play the best possible spinner, which is Vyaskant.
Any chance of Travis Head playing and maybe bowling some spin?
He could roll a few out.
Yeah. All right. Predictions. Favourites going into first qualifier?
KKR.
SRH.
SRH.
Okay, 2-1 to the Sunrisers. Build up to it around the toss, the first qualifier. So join us then on Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPN Cricinfo Timeout, powered by JBL.
Introducing the epic new Swift. Time to go swifting.